Hello, everyone. My name is Eric K. Thomas, editor in chief of the Quintessential Gentleman, and today we are talking to Tobi Bamtefa. Bamtefa. I try to say it my best, my best. How are you doing?
Sorry. I'm good. Sorry, man. I kind of froze there for a little bit. My bad.
I had a phone call.
Oh, I thought you were so upset at how I said your name, and you were like, "Nah, he's not gonna do it."
Yeah, that's my bad. It was my wife calling. Sorry. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah,
No
right here,
problem.
man.
Perfect. So, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I can't complain. I'm in New York City. It's been a really good few days,
Good.
and I'm just really grateful, I guess, for everything and for the moves that are being made right now. So yeah.
Awesome. So today we are going to talk about season 2 of Mayor of Kingstown, which is on Paramount, and super excited to have this conversation with you. Want to learn a little bit more about you, learn about this character, and just get a little feel about who Tobi is.
All right, man. Yeah. Fire away,
Perfect.
man. Hit me with it. What's the question?
Perfect.
Yeah.
So the first one we got is, I want to know what first intrigued you about playing Mr. Bunny Washington.
All right. For starters, it was just the way the character was written. It was quite humorous, but the nature of his position is one that could quite easily be written in a stereotypical way.
Yeah.
Just the gangster, that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? He's from the hood, blah blah blah, and all that. But his humor was very intriguing because because it almost makes him slightly unpredictable, and also it's actually a very human trait. It's something that I recognize myself because I use humor to kind of distance myself away from certain unfavorable situations.
Yeah.
I laugh about it or I make jokes about it or whatever it is, but it's in some cases it can be used as a defense mechanism. In other cases it can be used or I use it anyway personally to observe my immediate surroundings.
Yeah. So I was I was wondering how you thought about that particular characteristic, because even with him, he's humorous, but also don't get it twisted. He's definitely about that life. So how did you like that particular dynamic of the character?
It's like I said, it makes it unpredictable, and it makes him more relatable. But also, there's a certain intrigue with the fact that he's humorous, like you said, and he can be relatable in that way. But there is also this other side where he can be equally as vicious, and he has often had to be, especially in this world, in the world of Kingstown, which is this prison town, and which has a lot of violent goings ons and in them. So he's had to cultivate a certain ruthless persona in order to survive in this world. So yeah, it's great. It's definitely an acting challenge, trying to marry the two aspects of these personalities, but also in a way we all have aspects of that within us. We just, depending on whatever situation we're in, we might have to kind of switch it up, at the drop of a hat. You know what I mean? So yeah.
For sure. So tell us a little bit about how you prepared for this role.
I did a lot of research. So I've never been to America before up until season 2, since the start. Season 1 was shot in Toronto. So, but even with that, Toronto, Canada is it's slightly different. They're different culturally. They're different from African Americans anyway. So I had to do a lot of extensive research. I watched videos, I read books on a variety of things, just to understand this world a little bit more. And then there's the persona. So kind of like the physicality of it, the gangs, Crips, Bloods, all of that. And I based his physicality. I based all of that on certain people that I knew. One of them was I had played. I think my first lead role was the Last King of Scotland. Played in the stage adaptation of the Last King of Scotland. I played Idi Amin. So yeah, so that, and with him, he was for the leader of Uganda. He was, at the time, he was this larger than life kind of person, and where he was really charming and welcoming to people, there was this other side of him that was equally, as violent. So he's lovely on one side, and on the other side, that loveliness is matched with this brutality, this and this sort of access to violence. And so there was him. I sort of based that the mentality around him, the personality rather, sorry, around him. And also I really liked Killer Mike. Killer Mike is somebody that I feel, somebody that I feel and I understand to be a highly intelligent, highly perceptive individual. He's somebody whose intelligence kind of seeps through everything that he talks about. And he's also the kind of person who is, I feel like anyway, he can sort of look at a situation and form his own opinion on it. And that opinion you can trust would be informed, So yeah, I sort of based Bunny around those personalities, and I tried to kind of bring them all together in this new way.
Awesome. And I do, for me, just seeing, I was like, it's definitely a character I haven't seen before, like the dynamics, right? And I really appreciate that, because again, to your point, could be very stereotypical, can be typical gangster, ruthless, call it a day. But I really appreciate the writing and how you portrayed the character. So that was awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Of course. So talking about kind of what you learned, I want to know what your thoughts are after learning, or what did you learn about kind of the business of the American prison system? What did you learn about that from filming?
Well, in my research, I watched quite a few times, but I watched 13th, the Ava DuVernay.
Yep.
Yeah. And one of the things that I found, I don't want to put my emotions on it, but one of the things that I found was that technically, slavery is technically legal. If you are incarcerated, you become property of the state, or so that in itself was a concept to get around, because there is a whole myriad of outcomes that comes with that. That, and also just I had to research, what prison is actually like in certain states. There were a few scenes in season 2 which reminded me of one prison that I remember doing some research on I think it's in Arizona. It's like really hot and stuff, and sort of like that whole place. I think it was there were certain human rights violations in that prison and stuff like that, and I saw elements of that within this story, with the relationship between guards and prisoners, and so yeah, and also obviously we know, but where we live, I live in England, and and I guess the world at large sort of understands police brutality and stuff like that. We kind of see it every day on our screens and stuff. So and it's also something. It's not a phenomenon that is solely an American one. It's one that is actually quite global. Police brutality that even occurs even in Nigeria, and but it's particularly poignant in the UK, in America as well. So yeah, I drew sort of some similarities from those influences from my experiences there. And yeah, that those were just a little bit of what I understood. Then I had to research food as well, because I didn't know. I didn't know some of the food. You know what I mean? I didn't know what a White Castle was until season 1. Right, cool.
Awesome. I love White Castle. I haven't had That's not true. I used to live in New York. So I have an apartment in New York, and across the street there is a White Castle. I've probably
Okay.
eaten it. I lived in that apartment for 3 years. I've probably eaten it probably once a year. I'll get there, but
Okay, yeah. Yeah, man, yeah. I haven't had one personally because we shot in Pittsburgh, but yeah, I don't recall ever seeing like a White Castle around us. Is that a New York thing? White Castle is that strictly New York or?
I don't think it's a New York thing. I have no idea where it originated, but honestly, I remember White Castle when I was younger. And the fact that I saw it in New York, I was like, what are you still doing here? So I have no idea.
Yeah. So yeah, I had to do a lot of research on that. And also I think there was a scene where Bunny's talking about his grandmother and how she cooks in a Dutch oven and stuff like that. And these are things that I know. I know like the techniques that we're describing. We do that in nights. Yeah. Okay. So it's not. There are so many things that in the African American culture that just mirrors things that are things that I recognize myself from back home. So it felt like the research I was doing. There were times, a lot of times actually, where I just felt like, we're a lot more similar than we would like to admit. A lot of times, and there was comfort in that. A little bit of heartache because we've been taught to assume that we are, because everybody's in America and we're all different. But actually, no, we kind of do the same thing. Rap is a form of call and response. We do that back home all the time. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's those little cultural influences that add nuance that I've tried to use anyway to add nuance to the character and stuff. That's how I've tried to understand it.
That's awesome. And you know what I'm seeing now, and I would love to get your thoughts on, is kind of the unification in content. Content that is unifying the Black diaspora, right? Where it's like you have American, then you're going over to London to get a little piece of it, and then you're seeing like, wait, y'all understand that? And then you have the Nigeria piece. So I grew up in a household. My mother is Nigerian, my father is Nigerian, my mother is Trinidadian, born in America. So we have this melting pot, but my experiences are like you pull in a little bit. I wasn't born there or anything like that, but clearly they have their experiences. I eat what I eat. I cook what I cook. Jollof rice, Nigerian all day, no Ghana.
That's cool. Shout out to my Ghanaian brothers, though. Shout out to the Ghanaians, bro. Yeah.
I love them. But I love starting to see content where you're kind of being able to see the diaspora and the intersectionality of it. But to your point, being similar stuff. So what do you think about this rise in that particular content?
I think it's amazing. I think the more we explore these histories that have been lost to us for centuries, then the closer we become, and the more nuanced and the more creative our stories can be. And it's sometimes I do feel that there is this assumption that Africa in a whole is just full of Nigerians, and that is so wrong. Like people in East Africa are vastly different. They have a different mentality. They have a different way of life. To people in West Africa, and even then, people in Nigeria have a very different way of life to people in Ghana, and Ghana is right next door. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's sort of, it demystifies that myth of all Africans are the same. All Caribbeans are the same. It's all, we're all just an extension of each other, and I love seeing stuff like that. I watched The Woman King a few times, and just to be able to see how diverse that cast was something that was not lost on me. Because to the folks who don't know, people like Lashana Lynch. Lashana Lynch is Jamaican. Sheila Tim, I think I can't remember she's from East Africa. I think she might be Ugandan. I'm not sure. Okay. Obviously Viola Davis is African American, and Tuso Mbedu's from South Africa. So it's do you know what I'm saying? It's that diversity that is often misunderstood, or there isn't even an attempt to understand, because everybody just assumes all Africans are the same and we all understand the same jokes. And what's even worse is we all know each other. So I've heard some people talk to me, say some stuff about oh, you Nigerian? It's like, yeah. Oh, I was in Uganda once. I don't know what the fuck that's got to do with me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's got absolutely nothing to do with me because that's not even on the same. That's not even. That's a different time zone. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nigeria is here, Uganda is down there, and you're
Not
telling
even
me,
close.
yeah, exactly. So it demystifies it, and it just brings the variety, the spice that I know and I understand, and it brings it to the forefront in this industry. And we're able to take control of this narrative of the narrative of what Africa is and what Africans in the diaspora are and who we are and not just we're not a monolith, you know what I'm saying? We all come from different perspectives and all have different thoughts and different opinions on very different things. So I love it. I'm all here for it.
Yeah. I'm here for I tell me and my father, we have a conversation all the time, and it's being in this industry and loving to see these particular perspectives. And they're like, yeah, Nigeria, and then they're like, oh, okay, Lagos, all that stuff. I'm like, but you guys understand that Yoruba versus Igbo, like I don't. My father doesn't understand what they say, and just thinking that they all speak the same language is so crazy. So I think we will get to. I love the two pieces, right? So there is the TV film aspect that is bringing the cultural education, and then there's the music piece that is now getting so much love that I'm so appreciative of, and trying to even on my end. And I get upset at my dad. First of all, my dad did not teach me Yoruba when I was younger, so I know bits and pieces, and I get so upset with him, like, pops, like I would have loved to have been able to speak Yoruba when I was younger. He was like, yeah, because I was the only one in the house. So it'd be like I was speaking to myself. It'd be very, very hard for me to do so. So I was like, but I get it. But I think that there's definitely evolution and then the education of Africa and where our lineage and where we come from. And I'm super appreciative of it.
Yeah, likewise, man, likewise. And it is like you said, there are more similarities than we would like to admit. And yeah, it's a really exciting time to be able to explore and finally just say to the world, like, look, there is all these different spices that you haven't even tried yet. You don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Even in Nigeria, the people in the southern states of Nigeria are vastly different. The culture is vastly different to the people in the north.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just in Nigeria. And so imagine what it would be like on the rest of the continent. Yeah. So yeah,
I agree. I want them to keep on. Let's keep it going.
Let's keep it going.
You are starring you star alongside Jeremy Renner, who plays Hawkeye in the MCU. I want to know, what's your favorite Marvel movie, and who is your favorite superhero?
Black Panther. That's my favorite. That's my favorite. I got my Wakanda passport, bro. It's coming in the post next week. Black Panther, that's my favorite. That and Iron Man, them two. Iron Man, because just the nostalgic factor, that's Iron Man. That was the first Marvel movie that came out, and I was blown away by it.
Yeah.
And I think all of them have been great. I do really like Thor as well, actually. I think Thor is pretty good. But yeah, when Black Panther came out, that was such a movement. It was such a moment.
Felt across the world.
Yeah. And I just remember I watched it like 4 times while it was still in the cinemas. And I went, each time I watched it, I just felt this well of pride just sort of rising through and stuff. And rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, but man, he did the thing on that. And the whole production was just beautiful to see. And it was something that I was really yearning to be amongst, and it's so nice to be able to be on a production where you don't necessarily have to translate or sort of adapt to yourself. You can just say what's on your mind, and you can trust with a high degree of certainty that you will be understood. It's that is a feeling, that's something that should be cherished. And I don't think I've experienced too many of those moments. I did a production once actually a couple of years ago called The Barbershop Chronicles, written by Inua Ellams, another Nigerian. And that was just all Black men. We did a production, all Black men, set in barbershops in several parts of Africa and in London. And just the cast in itself, just how we all came together. That feeling was one of the best experiences of my life, because I hadn't ever been in an environment where, like I said, I can just speak my mind and I can trust that I will be understood. You know, I don't have to use the dictionary in my head, because sometimes I have a very Nigerian mentality.
Yeah.
So when I'm saying things, I have to translate to how the British will understand it, and then I'll now have to translate to how just white people in general would understand it, and sort of like, oh, okay, cool. So maybe they don't find that funny, or maybe they won't understand what that means, and so I have to, okay, how would I say it this way? So yeah.
And I think also it's like one part of is being authentic, right? You really could just be yourself, right? And feeling comfortable in your space. And I don't think we speak enough, to your point, about Black people or Africans who have to really do this like change in their mind when they say something. It's like a translation. Even though I know how to say it in terms of a language perspective, but how do I say it in a way that you understand me? And I think how you said that is so important.
Yeah, it is because there's way too often, anyway. What I find from my personal experience, way too often, things can get really misunderstood for me. And a lot of that is down to my size. I'm 6'3". I'm 6'4" actually, but a lot of that, because and I'm not a slim person either. I'm white. I'm heavy set. I'm big. Muscular, all that kind of stuff. Well, I was muscular, not anymore, but you know what I mean. but so
that is so funny. It's so funny that you were like, oh, I'm 6'3", but I'm actually 6'4", whereas the other people are like, oh, I'm 6'4", really I'm like 6'3". So you're like, what? How come you said you normally go to 6'3"? Why you make yourself shorter?
It's because in so when I came to America, I realized that I actually stand straighter. In England, everything is built for people below 6 foot. So I walk around slouching a lot. I have to dip to get into doors. The ceilings are quite low. And just in general, it's I realized that I do this subconsciously after, like, I had several therapy sessions, just to have therapy and stuff. And I realized that I do it subconsciously to make myself smaller, so I don't present as a threat. So I'm not threatening to people. It's my way of, I guess, disarming people. And when I came to America, America is different in that, bruv, if you don't stand up for yourself, you're gonna get lost in the sauce, mate. So everyone's on, especially out in New York out here. So everyone's kind of doing their own thing. So you kind of need to be able to take up space. Otherwise, you're just going to get swamped. And so, and also things here are just big. So I can just stand up straight. I haven't had a backache since I got here. So, you know what I mean?
That is awesome. So wait, now I want to talk a little bit about that. So is it only based on your size that you feel like that, or in terms of not feeling threatening, or is it in association to people that's not Black or like white people and not feeling threatening as well? Does that play a part in it, or is it just strictly based on the size or your height?
It's element of both. So in predominantly white spaces, I went to a predominantly white school and stuff. So in predominantly white spaces, I do that subconsciously. I noticed that my tone of voice changes also when I'm talking, because, like I said, I've actually had moments where, if I'm just being myself or whatever it is, somebody would go and say some stupid comment and be like, "Oh my God, you're so aggressive." It's like, what is that? How? I wasn't, and because also I was born in Nigeria. There's a certain way that we speak, and it's not, we're not being aggressive. We're just, I guess, passionate people is the best way to say it, So it comes across as angry and, shouty and stuff, but I could be saying I love you. And the way we are saying it is with extra vim. Do you know what I mean? So people don't know how to take that. And also there's a certain honesty as well. I personally don't have time for, can I cuss on this? Can I cuss?
Yes, please.
Okay, cool. I don't have the mental patience for bullshit. If something is off, I'm the kind of person who, I like to get straight to the point. And let's discuss this right there and then. And that, especially in England, that can be really abrasive for some people. So I have to figure out a way to sort of get to what I'm trying to say by doing just a little bit of acrobatics, so that they can receive what I'm saying and not be offended. Do you know what I'm saying? Or not feel hurt or not be put on the defensive. But it's it can be a lot of work, but when you get used to it, I guess it's almost like learning or understanding that you speak different languages at the same time. Do you know what I'm saying? You can speak to this person, but also you know how to speak to this person, which makes for a more versatile person.
Yeah. Oh, I think you hit mute. Oh, someone came through.
Sorry.
There you go. No problem. No, you're good. No, I completely understand it. Like I said, people come to my house or my friends and stuff, and it's, oh, what happened? Your dad? Okay. No, he's just talking, and then he's speaking in another language. So they're like, what's happening? What's going on? So I get it, and I think I've never. And it's so funny. It's not until you say it now that my even my friends and things like that, they're like, Eric, you're so aggressive, and I'm like, oh, and I realize, like, yeah, because that's how we talk. And even me speaking English, don't care about, but still have that passion and yelling and say, no, I'm not upset, it's just very, very passionate. So completely understand. That's awesome. So you talk about being in therapy, which is amazing to hear, especially Black men. A big supporter of Black men getting therapy and speaking to people. I want to know more about how you do maintain your mental health and keep yourself mentally going.
My therapist taught me, he made me understand kind of what happens physically in your body when you are going through stress, or when you're trying to when you're within a trauma or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And essentially the understanding is that your body, your nervous system gets activated when certain things trigger certain memories from back then or whatever it is. It's like a survival mechanism, right? Cool. Right. So what my therapist did was teach me how to center myself whenever I'm feeling, or first of all, he taught me how to recognize when I'm getting triggered, or when something is sort of activating my nervous system. So and then he taught me how to ease that and how to calm down, as opposed to what I did before was eat. I'm an emotional eater.
Okay.
Whenever I was going through stress or any particularly triggering moments and stuff, I would eat. But you just if you just breathe, you taught me how breathing exercises, that kind of stuff. Sort of visualizing where you are, kind of using all of your senses to kind of ground yourself in the moment. And then once you feel settled, then you can approach or speak to whoever it is, or approach whatever situation you're in. So the more I do that, the easier it's become to sort of soothe myself. So I walk into spaces, and I sort of I can handle it now. Whereas before, I have Tourette's, by the way, so I have Tourette syndrome. Okay.
Oh wow.
And,
okay.
And I'm also like I'm highly sensitive to noise and light. So I can't sleep with like the little lights on the TV and stuff. Everything needs to be black time.
Black.
Otherwise I can feel it inside my brain. So prior to all of this, I would go in, if I'm at a networking event or something like that, I would go in, talk to people, and then I would have to leave for a good 5-10 minutes before coming back in. And I would do that intermittently, but it's not helpful. You sort of need to kind of understand your own limits, but also just know how to soothe yourself within the moment and stuff. And it allows for a better experience for myself. Yeah. That, and I also have my wife. My wife is a great source of inspiration. My wife and my younger brother, those two people are great sources of inspiration for me. My wife is she's a very grounded and centered and spiritual woman. And so, she understands me, she understands, and I understand her also. So, we have very frank and open conversations about these things. And that aids our understanding of each other, and that also aids our understanding of our environment. Particularly because, so my wife is of Indian descent.
Okay.
Her family are from Mauritius. Okay. So that's off the coast of Madagascar. So even that, there's a whole bunch of cultural, whatever it is that you want to, do you know?
Yep. Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of politics with that. So,
right. I'm sure.
So we have to really be, locked into each other in order to go through it and understand actually what is going on.
Mhm.
You know, otherwise we would be swayed any which way. You know, and so yeah, that's really what I do, and it helps me a lot on set. It helps me with scenes, because I need a way to sort of ease off after you work yourself into a scene, and the character, I can get quite into it. So in order to not take it back home with me, I'm not trying to be Bunny at home. I'm trying to, I need to find a way to decompress and get all of it without using substances or anything like that. And I've never done that, but it's better to be able to do it without those things and to learn how to do it yourself, so that I don't rely on those things, and those things can just be for enjoyment only. You know what I mean?
Wow. No, for
so
sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you were in a Apple TV series called Invasion. So I'm gonna say you know some things about aliens. You gonna give me some insight on them shooting out these balloons in the sky? Should I be worried? Is there anything that you think is happening that you know insight that I don't know? Because I don't know what's happening. I'm a little nervous.
Listen, if it's aliens, I think I don't know. I really don't know what to think. If it's aliens, then all right, cool. Just just don't blow up the planet. We're still trying to save it. But if you've got any special technology that will clear up the pollution and all that kind of stuff, I'm all for it. Just hope nobody shoots at the aliens, because they're visitors and whatnot.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Perfect. All right, and my last question for you is, I want to know, what can we look forward to from Mr. Tobi Bamtefa?
Well, so I'm producing. I'm producing with a group of friends of mine. A story. I won't speak too much on it now, but my friends, Ladi Emerowa, who's Nigerian, and Africa Uko, who's in Nigeria, he's a writer in Nigeria as well. We're trying to pitch this story that Ladi's written, and Ladi and Africa have written. So it's a story that I believe in. It's one that it's Nigerian. It's very Nigerian. So it's close to home, and it's a great story. I won't say too much now.
Please.
Just look forward to that, and just stay tuned, man. I post stuff on my Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. So yeah, everybody just stay tuned on that. And
perfect. Well, when it's ready, make sure you let us know. We will definitely support and get it out to the masses for sure.
Of course, man. This has been a great chat, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tobi. I really appreciate it, my brother.